So I tried to kind of incorporate some things into my earlier comments, but for the most part, as I'd mentioned before, the NCWorks really helps you to cut out some of the heavy lifting that's needed when you're searching for people. We had a very narrow focus in terms of the types of people that we were looking for. So whether it was veterans, non-veterans, security clearance, whatever we were looking for, we were able to put those out there, hand them over to NCWorks, and then the counselors were able to give us back a short list of people that met that. That was huge in terms of being a huge time savings for us. In addition to training dollars and OJT dollars and things like that can come along to help us with that onboarding process. It's been incredibly valuable.
Thank you, Tony. And Nag, how about you? I'm going to ask the same question.
Yes, I totally agree with Tony and what he just stated. Tony, and you and me are on the same boat from a small business perspective. And yes, definitely partnering with NCWorks, it helped us a lot by putting the dollars and from a recruitment point of view, and also, the shortage of staffing issues and all these things that helped a lot to us.
Thank you. So as you all heard, with NCWorks, with the business services team, we're able to help with that retention by having that wraparound service and support from the business services team to help pre-screen, help you identify quality talent, connect you to resources and/or services that are going to help you to keep those talented folks with your company.
Absolutely. There is no secondary question on that.
Thank you, my friend. All right, let's keep this moving. So I'm going to pose this question. I'm going to keep both you, Nag, and Tony in the hot seat for a little bit. My next question for Nag: your business has participated in on-the-job training, so you talked about that a little bit. Will you share your experience with utilizing this employer service? And then how has it helped your business? Hey, Nag, I think we lost your audio, my friend.
How about now? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yes, definitely it will help. It helped us from right from recruiting and then training the new staff, and the contribution from NCWorks, which is always great. And yes, it is our business is benefited by doing so.
Nice. So with that OJT, we're able to help offset some of those employer costs that you all incur when you're bringing on and training some of that new talent. And Tony, I'm going to slide over to you, my friend. So Nag's talked about how we can kind of cut through some of that, I'm going to say gray tape, to help you guys with cost sharing, excuse me. What did you find the most significant, or what was the most beneficial, excuse me, in regards to the OJT?
The dollars that help us to offset the cost. When we sit down and we do analysis as an IT company, we analyze everything. And in analyzing the onboarding costs of bringing an individual, it's not just the lack of production from an individual that you're bringing in your training, but it's also the dollars that you're losing from these highly productive people that you have to take offline out of production to train someone else to get up to speed. So as we look at that, some of our largest expenses come in with just that whole onboarding process is really difficult. And recognizing the fact that if you don't do it right, then you end up with a resource that's not properly trained, that can't do what's necessary. So this gives us the time to do the onboarding process in the right way and offset those costs. And that's been incredibly valuable. I can't imagine any small business that wouldn't have the same problem.
Thank you, Tony. And so I've kept both you and Nag in the hot seat. Anne Marie, I'm going to put you on the spot, my friend, or put you in the hot seat. I'm going to ask you, your business has participated in the Catalyst 2020 or Incumbent Worker Training Grant. How did this resource help your business train, upskill, and retain your existing employees?
Absolutely. having a staff of 10 corporate staff members and 30 plus 1099 contractors. Contractors don't count towards the incumbent training, but the W-2 staff do. And when they're looking at a startup or a small company that maybe not paying the millions of dollars they're expecting because they've worked for bigger companies, they can get training from us. They can get things that these programs will afford me the opportunity to offer earlier than I might otherwise have. So it'll help somebody skill up into a job maybe they wanted to do but weren't qualified for.
Hey, Anne-Marie, it looks like you're on mute, my friend.
It'll allow them to gain skills to get a better job, to earn more money within the company. It helps them grow within my program so that I'm not hiring and training new people. I'm training the people I have to do more or be better at what they do.
Nice. And so that incumbent worker funding, again, that's something that's beneficial for any of your existing workers.
Yes,
For
they have.
skilling.
In the past, I can't speak for 2023, but in the past, they had to have been employed by you as a W-2 full-time for 6 months or more to qualify for funding. I'm assuming it's similar. And the amounts are $10,000 or $20,000 a year, depending, and that changes yearly. But it's a good chunk of change for a small business. And to be able to train a worker to realize their dreams helps them stay with you longer. My philosophy has always been happy people stay longer, they do a better job, and they cause less drama. All things that I look for: less drama, better skilled people that are paying their bills and are happy.
Yes, ma'am. Anne-Marie, spoken like a member of the business services team.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep you in the hot seat, my friend.
please.
As a small business, we know that your time is valuable. How easy was the process for accessing our services?
Fairly easy, a holiday or two, sometimes delay getting responses, but typically you call, and if they answer, great. If you don't, you leave a message and within 24 hours they get back to you. Sometimes if they're a Cortland, they text you at 10 o'clock at night because that's the only time you guys can connect, but they are there to reach you and help you. And if you follow the steps and you take their advice and you do the things that are required of you, this will happen. But again, there are steps, and it's not just free money. It's not just, I'm going to give you a handout, go make it work. It's what are you going to do to work smarter, not harder, and to follow whatever the path is in front of you. And working with the people in this group, I can't speak highly enough of Cortland or Barbara and being able to help me, and Sunny the same way. And needing things, you just reach out and you ask. Worst thing that can happen is they say no or not now, or, oh my God, that sounds great, move forward. And obviously I'm here because I'm one of the people that was successful using their program and will continue to be. And if you want to be in the hot seat next year, you got to follow the steps and do the things you need to do.
Thank you, Anne-Marie.
You're welcome.
She's put it plain and clear, guys. If you want to be in the hot seat, just continue to engage with our team, and I'll have you on one of these panels next year.
Absolutely.
Tony, I'm going to ask the same question to you that I asked of Anne-Marie. What was your experience like with just connecting to our team and accessing those services?
Yes, we've had a real good experience working with Court and other folks at workforce. Have been great to work with. In a small business, the expectation is that if I'm CEO, I say it, I've got 5 minutes, whatever you're doing, stop doing it and start. You don't quite get that from NCWorks, but that's understandable. But I tell you what, they really do work hard. I can't mention the number of times that people have reached out to us after hours to try to do things to really work and move their schedule around to work things out for us. As you can imagine, I'm always amazed at what actually happens within the workforce development community, because if you pull back the layers of the onion and look at it, they're federal dollars. There's a ton of bureaucracy behind the scenes that has to be managed and negotiated, and they do that and then make sure that the services get to us in a way that we can consume them. I know that's a tough task, and they do a great job of doing it. So it's my hat's off to them. And as I said, working with them is great. It's always good to pick up the phone when you talk to folks. You're talking to folks with a smiling face. You hear the smiling voice on the other side, and they're willing to work with you. So once again, all those things are really appreciated.
Nice. Thank you, Tony.
Cortland, can I quickly add something? I
Sure.
just want to say to everyone listening that one of the things, and that Tony said that is so accurate, but keep in mind, this isn't free money. This is, they'll work as hard as you do. So if you want Cortland or you want someone on the team, Sunny, to work for you, they will, they'll bust their butt to get what you want, but only as hard as you bust your butt. So if you are expecting a handout, you're not going to get it. If you're expecting free money and a Christmas bonus, not going to happen. But if you're willing to work hard and try and one foot in front of the other and really make an effort, not only will they help you with all of these programs, but they might be able to shed the light on other programs or other people. But again, you got to work for it. You've got to do your due diligence. Sorry.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. That's a good point. You know, our team really wants to get ingrained with businesses to understand exactly what it is you're looking for, what your pain points are, and really to tailor our services. I know that Barbara hit the nail on the head in that general session. We have an array of services available, but we try to really understand what's going to be the most beneficial and what's going to be the most important at that time to help you to connect to. And as our relationship continues to evolve and grow, of course, we'll add additional services or make additional recommendations along the way. Thanks, Anne-Marie. So I'm going to put all three of you in the hot seat for this question. What is the biggest challenge your business was experiencing before connecting with Capital Area or NCWorks? And I know all three of you kind of alluded to some of these things, but let's hear some of those challenges, just so that if there's someone on this call that may be experiencing something similar, they may be able to see that we're able to support them as well. Let's start with my buddy Anne-Marie.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My biggest challenge was retaining good employees or good staff, or even hiring good staff, because sometimes they were outside my budget. And sometimes they had skills that we needed that were not in the area we needed them, but in the future we would. So hiring the right people and being able to get them trained in a way that supports our business and allows us to continue to grow and keep the right people or hire the right people was invaluable. And I know we've talked a lot about the different resources you offer. I will say some of my employees I found on Indeed, and I went to Cortland when he was
Hey,
the service
girl.
manager.
You're
And I,
fine.
Excuse me.
Yes.
You're on mute.
I went to Cortland and I said, hey, I found this candidate. I think they're underskilled, but I think they have the it factor for what we're looking for. How do we get them in the program? And Cortland would do his magic and we would get them in the program and they would interview, and sometimes they worked out and sometimes they didn't. And I didn't take it personal when they didn't. I would, do my due diligence to find out why, and then maybe hire, maybe not. And then 6 months later, I'd apply for a Catalyst grant that would allow me to give them more training and help them grow. And the value of that is that the challenge for me is, how do you keep somebody who wants more money and wants more training and wants to grow, and yet we're in the middle of a COVID and there's no money coming in, or money's down, or you can't support what you want to do? Well, then you got to look to outside sources. You've got to look for hidden areas that might have what you need to get you to that next level that'll sustain you until you can get there, with good people that are like-minded and honest. And that's this group. Couldn't ask for better people to help you. And even when they say no, they're not saying no because it's personal. They're saying no because you didn't meet a requirement. Okay, what's that requirement? How do I meet it? Or maybe I'll never meet it, but how do I get to the next level? And they're going to be there to help you and support you. So the challenges that I've faced along the way, I've been able to most often come to these guys and get help with.
Thank you, Anne-Marie.
You're welcome.
I'm going
Thank
to
you.
pose that same question. You're welcome, my friend. To you, Nag, what were your challenges? And Nag, just remove yourself from mute.
Okay, sorry about. Yep.
Yes, sir.
So before partnering with NCWorks, as I mentioned, sometimes when we are looking for the people, they might have a good skill set, but the budgets are high. And I cannot afford, from a small business point of view, I cannot afford the paycheck what they are asking for. So when we enroll in the OJT, it helps us It helps us to retain them and then provide them the required training, and we can confidently take the risk. When we are hiring a new candidate, it's a risk from the new business perspective. Whether a lot of questions like is he or she is the right candidate, whether they can achieve the deliverables or not, at the same time, it's a lot of money from businesses point of view we are spending. So those are the challenges that we are facing before partnering with NCWorks, and definitely when we enroll in the OJT, it helps us and gives the required training for the candidates, and helps us support the businesses and the required training, and financially as well as from a skill perspective.
Nice. So just from those two responses alone, what you all should hear is that the business services team works capital area. We're basically your partner. We meet you where you are, and we'll walk hand in glove with you to meet that end goal. Along the way, we will make recommendations, and hey, sometimes we may have some tough conversations, but we'll make sure that we're, again, trying to support you, or try to support you, excuse me, to the best of our capabilities. Tony, I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to ask you that same question before we move on. What were your challenges, my friend?
Well, I tell you what, as I've alluded to many times, the technology moves so fast, and it's so hard to keep up with it. I go back to a time when some years ago, earlier in my technical career, I was the expert on a Novell network. And I just thought nobody was ever going to be any better at connecting computers in Novell. And I was the expert. If you look at it, most people don't even know what a Novell network is now. The technology is just gone. So what we do is we train our people, we get them ready. These are the best and the brightest at what they're doing, and then boom, the technology is gone. One of the things that when they talk about incumbent worker grants, let me tell you what that is. That is, I have existing workers, the technology moved on me, and now I need to retrain them in something else. Those incumbent worker grants provide money that I can come in and train the employees that I already have in this new technology and keep them up. For an IT company, that is incredibly invaluable. So as we sit down and talk about this, my reaction when they told me that they could do this was, you can do what? But for a small business, it is very, very valuable to have that. I want you to just take, with your existing workers, I want you to take a step back. I want you to think about how much better your organization is if they knew how to do X, and you plug in whatever that X is. Think about that. That's what that incumbent worker grant does. That's the value to a small business.
Solid. Tony, Nag, Anne-Marie, you all almost had me in tears while reading these questions. My heart is mush, but I'm going to ask my final question before we open it up for some Q&A. And I'm going to ask this to all three panelists. Is there any advice that you would like to share with other small business owners like yourself that want to access our services? And I'll start with Tony. You were just speaking, my friend. I'm going to put you in the hot seat first.
Sure. All of us have a ton of things on our plate. And it's every morning you wake up, I imagine many of you are just like me, trying to figure out what we're going to invest in or what we're going to put our hands on. What I'm telling you is that taking the time to step out to something that you're not familiar with say, one of the workforce boards, and then understand the process, which isn't going to take long. Talk to people like Barber Brothers and folks that are at Capital Area who are there for the sole purpose of helping you to understand that if you take the time to invest in understanding what they do and matching their services that they provide with what you do, I guarantee it'll be a value to you. Doesn't make a difference what type of business you are. I really do believe in the services of our workforce boards, and if you take the time to understand what they do, I think there's a way that you can match up what they do with the services that you really need to build and grow your business.
Solid. Thank you, Tony. How about you, Nag? Any advice?
I don't have any advices, but fairly it is a simple and quick and easy process to get onto the board and reach out to the team. So definitely I encourage the other small business owners to reach out to you guys and take up the services.
Thank you, my friend. And let's move to Anne Marie.
My advice for any business, whether you're working with NCWorks, you're working with Catalyst Group, you're working with any organization, is open, honest communication, direct dialogue. Know what you want, learn what you don't know, and then take those knowledges and put them together to create what you need. And when you know what you need and you can openly, honestly communicate that, great things happen. But you've got to come to the table with all your ducks lined up, all your paperwork, know yourself, know the business, know the needs, so that when you're asking for help and you're getting advice, it makes sense to you and it does what you need it to do. And this is one of many wonderful resources, or these are, that North Carolina offers. So just don't be afraid to ask for other resources or other help, but really know what you want and what you need and where you want to go and how you're going to get there so that you can do it. Because if you go into it, well, I think I wanted this and I might wanted that, and I don't know, you're wasting everybody's time. Go in with your top selections. These are the things I'm thinking. How do I get there? And they will help you do that.
Thank you, Anne Marie.
Absolutely.
And with that, we have closed up all of the formal questions with the panel. Inserting my dry sense of humor, Tony, Nag, Anne Marie, if I had spots on the team to include some senior business services consultants, I would add you all. Y'all have worked with the team over the past 6-7 years, and I appreciate your insight, your kind words, and just being able to help your colleagues on this call understand how we could be a benefit to their companies. So thank you. I want to open up the floor at this time for any questions. Again, I know you've heard a lot in the general session. Tyler mentioned a lot of information about how he can help with small business resources. Anne Marie, Nag, Tony, they've talked about their businesses. And then of course, you have me on this call for any questions related to our business services offerings. And so with that, I am scared, but I'll open up the floor for any questions, and don't all speak at once. Any takers? You guys are quiet. Let's see. No questions.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you all collaborate with the launch program?
The launch program?
Launch Raleigh, Launch Holly Springs, Launch Garner, supported by Rotary and Wake Tech?
Yeah, I can take this question.
Sure.
Yeah, so I was working with Wake County before working with Capital Area, in another position doing similar work with social entrepreneurship, and focused in Eastern Wake County. And we were really involved with the Launch Wendell program and the launch programs in the East. And at least for our side, we see our program working really well with Launch, where we are focused on that very beginning stage. And Launch has told us in the past that they found that the most successful businesses that come through their program have already kind of been established. So they're one of those organizations that our programs would kind of feed businesses into.
Nice.
That makes sense. Do you also work with or collaborate with chambers of commerce?
Yes.
Okay.
Two other questions from my side, Cortland.
Sure.
So do we have any programs like, as you all aware, we have the inflation and inflation going on, and to retain any of the old employees, do we have any programs in that area?
For inflation to retain your existing workers?
Exactly.
So there are not any resources that we have with our business services team. However,
Okay.
we have inroads and connectivity to the Small Business Center, Carolina Small Business, and some other small business resources, NAG. And so that may be something that Tyler, Barbara, and I can put our heads together to see if there are any things or any entities that pop out at the forefront.
The other item I would add, Cortland, you're right, those are great resources. The other item I would add is incumbent worker training is an excellent way to retain your staff and employees through professional development. That is, sometimes as a small business, there's only so much you can offer in terms of benefits and I'll call it perks. And so offering professional development is such a strong message to your team members. And I know having worked with Anne Marie closely on this, that was part of the secret of the sauce and retention. So I just wanted to throw that back out there because it can be a really good tool in your toolbox.
Barbara, thank you for that.
Okay. And in case if I want to go for a new talent acquisition, how can I do that?
For a new technician or a new position?
Yes.
So to get connected to NCWorks, one of the first things that's required is having that NCWorks profile. And so Nag, I'm going to get to your answer directly, but for the general group, you must have an NCWorks profile. That's where all of our services start. That helps us to enter any jobs that you're recruiting for actively and or past tense. We're able to then connect you to job seekers that are registered in the NCWorks system that may be looking for related opportunities. And so to get to Nag's question, in short, all you would need to do is connect with your dedicated business services consultant, let them know, hey, Gurdeep, hey, Sunny, hey, Donna, hey, Crystal, whoever that point of contact is, I have a upcoming or current need. Talk about that talent need, as Anne-Marie said, know exactly what it is that you're looking to fill. If you have a job description, share that information, and we'll make sure to start working with you to tailor our services and help you identify talent.
Okay. That part I am already doing it with Gurdeep. So.
Yes, sir. Nag gave me a plug there, guys. So he's actively utilizing that service. He turned the tables on me and asked me a question that I could potentially ask him, but thank you, my friend. And Ms. Banner, I saw you kind of waving. Do you have a question?
I do. Do you guys also provide support for contract employment or contractors that are not necessarily full-time employees, or do they have to be full-time employees?
So to access things like the OJT, which is on the job training reimbursements, or to basically utilize posting services through NCWorks, they do need to be W-2 based positions. So if they are 1099, we can't put the 1099 jobs in the NCWorks system, which would then negate our ability to help recruit for those positions. Great question. Any other takers?
Cortland, I just wanted to mention one other service. I don't know that it's been mentioned. It may have been already. One of the things that's been helpful for me, and I think Sunny most recently in Cortland in the past has helped with, is pulling job rates. What would this job pay? What is the mean income? What does this job look like? All of the background so that I'm making an educated decision, because you can interview the greatest person and they want $1 million an hour, and that may not be what the job pays. Or it may be what it pays and you just can't afford that person. So then you need to bring in someone less skilled at a lower rate and then work with Barbara to get Catalyst funding in 6 months to make them the greatest person. So you just got to use the resources in front of you. And I hope it's okay to say this, but I also use a lot of resources from Wake Tech and the Small Business Administration. So they filter really nicely into this. They help with business plans and designing what you need so that you can go back to the Catalyst people and go back to NCWorks and say, okay, now I know what I need. And then they can help you with that piece. So it's never a one and done. There's always more. There's always more to ask and get and do.
That's a great, Barbara, I see our wheels are spinning. Go ahead, Barbara.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, Anne-Marie, you said maybe it's not appropriate to mention them. Absolutely, they're strong partners with us. So yeah, no, thank you for mentioning them. We're very strong partners. There's nothing wrong with it. They're great at what they do. And that's the beauty of our Pathways to Entrepreneurship program. We're going to leverage this great entrepreneurial ecosystem we're blessed with
Yeah.
in our area, and use those strong resources. We're not recreating anything, just
Nope.
feeding into it and increasing access. So no, thank you for mentioning that. They're
You're
very
welcome.
strong partners.
There's no I in team.
That's right. That's right.
You ladies hit the nail on the head. And just to further explain, so we do work or have partnerships with those chambers of commerce. I know that was asked earlier. We do have inroads to the community college system, the four-year university system. So the Wake Techs, I'm going to say Merediths, the Pieces, we are working with them actively to help recruit from those feeder institutions. And so they are partners of ours. We don't compete. We actually support one another. And don't be surprised if you see us make a referral over to one of those entities.
And we actually like to look at our partners as not just a 1 + 1 = 2. We look at it amplifying and really a multiplier effect when we layer them together.
Thank you, Barbara. All right, so we've had some great questions thus far. I know we're getting close to the end of this session. Any final questions, thoughts, ideas, concerns? Going once, going twice. You guys have poker faces and y'all are quiet, but I'll say this, all jokes aside, I hope that you all have learned enough to pique your interest into our available workforce services. Again, if you have any questions about how we can partner, either immediately or in the future, you do have a business services contact that you can reach out to, Barbara, Tyler, myself. We're also available to answer any questions, point a finger, or direct you in the right way to get access to services. And again, you must create that NCWorks profile. So to access our services, go ahead and start by creating your NCWorks profile, get connected with your consultant, and we'll make that magic happen as soon as possible. But before wrapping up, I see our Director of Operations, Kenneth Gathers, is on the call. Any final thoughts, Ken?
No, great job, Cortland and Barbara. And I do echo you, and I thank the panelists for the feedback that you all provided about the system. Cortland, I just wanted to ensure that you or Barbara will be emailing this group of attendees the PowerPoint presentation, because I do know that initially we had some technical challenges, but I want, because the contact information for the staff on the presentation.
Yes, we will be sending out a copy of the presentation. So I know that initially when Tyler started, we didn't have access to share our screens. Barbara came in and saved the day. Thank you, Barbara. We'll make sure to get that presentation out after this session. I'd say don't look for it immediately. Give us some time to get that information out to you all. But again, if you have any questions, you'll have the email addresses of the business services contacts, Tyler's information. I'll include my information, and Barbara, I'm going to include your information as well, my friend. If there are any questions that the team can assist you all with, feel free to reach out. You've heard Anne-Marie, you've heard Nag, you've heard Tony express how we are very eager to work with your business and ready to help in whatever capacity that makes sense. And with that, I want to echo Ken's comments. Nag, Anne-Marie, Tony, thank you three for allowing me to put you in the hot seat. And then Nag, Anne-Marie, thank you all for putting me in the hot seat in the reverse. With that, I'll say I'm giving you all a gift of time back. Have an awesome morning.